Hey there, welcome back to my channel. This is Elizabeth with Ellie's Handcrafted Jewelry, and today I'm going to be showing you how to create this version of a cable weave that adds a lot of interest and texture to any piece. You can create this pattern with as little as 4 wires and as many as 8 to 10 if you really felt you needed a challenge. But before we get started, I'd like to thank Casdance for sponsoring this video. Casdance is a gem seller located in the United States and has a variety of high-quality stones. Search by gemstone, shape, size, quality, and more to find the perfect stone for your project. I've left a link in the description below to their website as well as their Facebook page so that you can stay up to date on any new arrivals or sales. And I'd also like to tell you about my new website where you can sign up for a monthly newsletter detailing new tutorials, videos, and any upcoming projects. You can also find some written tutorials for sale if you prefer working at your own pace, and it helps me to continue creating free tutorials for all of you. I've left the links in the description below, and thank you so much for taking the time to support this channel. Now, let's jump into the tutorial. Alright, now to get started, I have 5 base wires here, and I've wrapped my weaving wire around the bottom base wire 3 times. And I'm going to begin by wrapping my weaving wire around the bottom 2 base wires 2 times, scrunching it down a little bit, bringing it in between those 2 wires that I had just woven together, then wrapping around the next 2 base wires, so the second and third base wires 2 times, then bringing that wire back in between those 2 wires, then up and around the next 2 base wires, so the third and fourth base wires 2 times, scrunching my wire in between those 2 base wires, then up and around the top 2 base wires 2 times, just like so. And then I'm going to go ahead and begin wrapping around this top base wire 1 time at least. And I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this wire around the top base wire, pulling it out slightly, make it a little easier on myself. And I'm basically creating a coil. And I'm going to wrap my wire around this top base wire probably about 20 times, just so that I have plenty to descend back downward. And that's with 5 base wires, so you may need to wrap it more times if you add more than 5 base wires. Now at this point I've scrunched down my wire a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and begin folding it downward. And as you can see, there's a little bit of gap there. I hadn't quite wrapped around 20 times, so I'm going to go ahead and continue wrapping. And you can kind of do that just to figure out how much you may actually need, especially if you're using a different gauge wire. The wire gauges I'm using here are 20 gauge for the base wire and 28 gauge for the weaving wire. Now once I've reached the bottom, I'm grabbing my flat nose pliers, and I'm going to bend this wire up, just to make it parallel with those other wires again so I can continue weaving my pattern. Once I've straightened up my wire here, I'm going to go ahead and start over, wrapping around those bottom 2 base wires 2 times. And then I'm going to bring it in between those 2 base wires. Make sure you're not wrapping too tight. Then wrapping around the next set of base wires 2 times. Scrunching my wire down, making sure that everything is parallel. Bringing back in between those 2 base wires that I had just woven together. Then wrapping around the next 2 base wires, so the third and fourth base wires 2 times. Then again bringing my base wire or my weaving wire in between those 2 base wires. Then finally around the top 2 base wires again 2 times. And then I'm going to bring it around and begin creating another coil. So wrapping it around a couple times. And then I'm going to pull that wire out again, just so I have a little bit better access to it for my coiling. And again, wrapping around that wire about 20 times. Now I'm scrunching my wire down, and then again I'm bringing my wire downward, and then I'm going to grab my flat nose pliers and bend that up so that wire is again parallel with the other wires. Just be sure not to pull too hard on it. You don't want it to be too wonky. And then straightening out my wires again so I can begin the next set of weaves, and just doing that a couple more times. Now, if you want to finish off the weave, the way to secure it is to simply wrap it around the base wires, bottom two base wires, like you're going to start it again. You can wrap it one time or you can wrap it a couple times just to make sure it's extra secure. I'm just doing it one time here, and then wrapping around the bottom base wire 3 times to finish off my weave. And then from there you can cut off any excess. And here is the coiled cable weave, or at least that's what I'm calling it. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you'd like to support my channel, the easiest way to do that is by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. You're also invited to join the Facebook group where you can ask all kinds of questions and share your work. I've left all the links in the description below, and until next time, happy weaving!